Out to Beverly at Fort Fry High School on a beautiful day for some baseball. Second inning, J.R. Curry hits a ball over second base and gets into second base with a leadoff double. We'll call that a slide. Okay, runner on second. Mason Landfeld bunts, and the throw to third gets into the outfield, and the first run comes in to score for BL. They are on the board. Runner on third now. It's Cam Sidwell. Ground ball to first base. That'll get the job done. Fielder's choice RBI. Now it's Easton Walker, the southpaw from Parkersburg South, hitting a ball into the right center gap. That'll be trouble for Zanesville. He slides into second with a double. We are still in that second inning. Dominic Fry, hard ground ball to third. That will not be corralled, and two more runs come across to score for Beverly Lowell, and they put up 5. A crooked number in the bottom of the second. Let's skip ahead to the 6th. Curry at the plate goes the other way, and that ball stays fair. Gets down, more runs touch home, and Beverly Lowell gets the run rule victory, moving to 6-0, winning 10-0.